Hello YouTubers, how are you today? Today I'm going to talk about food in the body a little bit, because as I had mentioned in a couple videos before about weight loss and supplement industry, I kind of I could basically come across basically saying that a lot of things that were shown on TV tend to be a lot of malarkey, because, and here's the thing, my grandfather and my grandmother, my great-grandfather, and my great-grandmother, and even my dad, and so on, never once worried about if they had a six-pack, or, how much, how much body fat they had, or how much they weighed, and as kids, they're basically, as kids, their family, menu basically consisted of two choices: take it or leave it. But nowadays I can't even walk into a bookstore, or I've even had a hard time going into grocery stores without seeing diet book this or diet book that, or diet this or diet that, and or I'll see little kids, like 6 years old, scared silly to eat, or thinking that thinking fat kids are practically lepers. And to make people feel worse, I see commercials, like PX90, with people with Greek god bodies, and what's so funny about that is, when I was a little kid, a joke that my great-granddad used to always tell me was, in the Middle Ages, they had guillotines, they had stretch racks, they had whips and chains. Nowadays, they have a much more effective torture device called the bathroom scale. I really think the message behind the joke is that the trouble with always trying to preserve the health, the body, is that it's so difficult to do without destroying the health of the mind. And I mean, really, it's the truth, because there's a lot of people in this world who spend so much time watching their health or whatever, that they haven't the time to really enjoy it. You know what I mean? And to make matters worse, you'll read or hear or see people saying, the Atkins diet works best, or the Pritikin diet, or the blood type diet, or the low-calorie, high-exercise diet, or the Asian diet, or vegetarianism works best, and so on and so forth. And you never really know who's telling the truth because of media and commercials and things like that. And it really is the truth. I mean, because when I hear the word diet, I mean, my mind immediately goes to, I think of the word, as I was told long ago, that a diet is the penalty we pay for exceeding the food limit, not because of what we ate. And I do look at things in these terms in general. Mankind, since the improvement in cookery, eats twice as much as nature requires, because my response to the Atkins diet is, those who forget the pasta, are condemned to reheat it. My response to the Pritikin diet is, my response to dyspepsia is the remorse of a guilty stomach, because we can't have our diet as low as 10, basically our fat intake is 10% of our diet, because as human beings, we love fat. I mean, that's pretty much the diet of, that was our diet when, of the caveman days, and, my response to the blood type diet, this one's really gotten a lot of attention lately, but, I'm going to tell you this right now. Anyone who's ever studied basic medical science will tell you that blood's got nothing to do with the digestion of food. It takes the vitamins from the food, granted, but it's got nothing to do with, like, if you're if you're O type diet like I am, I can't have, grains, which doesn't make any sense. God put this food on here for a reason. He didn't really, when he made us, he didn't really think, okay, this diet, he can only eat this diet, he can only eat that. He didn't make it like that. He basically put the food on here for us to eat. Everybody. And my response to the glycemic index is that, and I've read a little bit about it, saying that these certain foods are digested as pure sugar, like starch and simple sugars, kind of like apples, for example. Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. The only thing digested as pure sugar is pure sugar. That's just pure and simple, or my response, to the low calorie, high exercise is, there's an old saying, I really worked up an appetite. You can't go low calorie. I mean, for Pete's sake, the average lumberjack alone burns 5,000 calories a day, and that's not even including that's excluding exercise. You know, or my response to the Asian diet, and this is something that I once knew some Mexicans who had a word they used for sushi, bait. For catching fish. you know, uh, so yeah, and my response to vegetarianism, in those that do it for health reasons, like Dr. Ornish, and I've read some of his literature, yeah, I can see where that would make sense. But for those vegetarians who say, oh, eating meat's bad for you, because you're killing an animal, well, I'm going to tell you this right here, right now. Red meat's not bad for you. Now, green and blue meat, blue and green meat, that's bad for you, because I can tell you right now that, for example, like a lot of Alzheimer's people or dementia people, they have very low-fat diets. The body needs, meat. It just does. And I once had an aunt that pretty much lost all of her strength because she was a vegetarian. Well, actually, she was a vegan, I should say. And she lost all her strength. Why? Because she wasn't having any protein practically. And so at the end of the day, despite any diet you're on, it doesn't matter what you eat, but how much. Because it's like this. If you eat right, you exercise regularly, guess what? I'm going to tell you the truth right now. You die anyway! So enjoy your food. Don't hate it. Food for thought. Tell me what you think. God bless.